Kyle, what's happening?
Not too much.
I love comics. I'm passionate about what I do. This is not just a business to me. What does comics and more mean to me? It's my livelihood, yeah. You know, yeah, it's a business. But even beyond that, I love this stuff. I like comic books and I like individuals. I hate people as a group. I used to pester the hell out of Tom Shriver, the previous owner. He opened in January of 1992, and I came in here maybe shortly after that. His wife, Tracy, was working. She was very, very pregnant, and I kind of asked her what was going on, and at that time, I was about 15 years old, and she said, obviously he'd have to talk to Tom, and then I just pestered the hell out of him every single time I was in here, pretty much, until I finally broke his will, and he says, all right, come in here on December 26, 1992. I was sitting in the back room for like 6 hours bagging and boarding Max comic books. That's the way it was at first, and then from after that, that first he kind of just keep me busy, just something to keep me going. And then after that, he just had me come in on Saturdays, and in those days we were open from 11 until 7. So Tom decides that he's done and says, all right, you got the keys, you're closing by yourself today. At that point, I would have been, just 16, a little over 16, so he wasn't too worried about me. And he leaves. So here I am. I'm doing things. I'm doing what I need to do. And then it gets to be, that last half hour stretch, and in comes this elderly gentleman. Well, then he's walking around and picking up almost one of everything, pretty much. He gets up. He's got this stack on the counter, and he says, well, let's go ahead and ring it up, see where we're at. And I'm ringing it up, and it gets up to $900. And he says, well, can we do anything? Can we do a deal or whatever? And I can't. So I got to call Tom, and I am a very strong-willed person where, to me, to call the boss on the first day that I'm left alone is admitting defeat. But I also can't do anything for this guy. There's not a darn thing I can do, and you don't discourage nearly $1,000 sales, so you just say, got to call the boss. So Tom gets up here, and he starts fiddling around with Marvin, and they're figuring out what they're going to do, and he turns and looks at me and goes, Chris, you can just go home. Just, talk about a kick to the nuts.
What does comics and more mean to you?
It's an interesting question. I mean, it's my livelihood at this point. It's always been sort of a safe haven. When I was coming in here as a kid, it was always, I guess it's meant different things to me over time. Then it was my fortress of solitude. I'd come in here on a Wednesday after work to buy my comics. I'd be in here for an hour. I would talk to everyone that was in here. And if anyone called me on my cell phone, well, they can wait, because the phone doesn't get answered in here. This is my time. This is my hour a day or hour a week that I get to me. Flash forward a little bit more to the point where, Tom calls me up one day and says, hey, we need to talk. Well, okay. What's going on, Tom? Everything all right? He says, well, I got two options. I can close the place or sell it to you. I'm not even sure that I could afford to buy this place right now. And he goes, well, that's not the question I asked you. So we worked it out and figured things out. And again, like I said, now it's my livelihood. Well, I love it, and I've met a lot of friends in here, and I've gotten to know you guys very well, and I love this place, but it is different. Now it's my livelihood. I need to make sure it's fun, and it's fun to come to work every day, but it's still work. And now it's a little different. I got less hair on top of my head, and I got more gray in my beard, and now there are some days when I'm like, oh God, I would rather somebody punch me in the face than I have to go to work today. But there are a lot worse places I could work. So it's meant different things in different periods of time, and I love this place, and I can't see myself doing anything else.
Wait a minute. This is not Sandman.
Yeah, it is.
Sandman's all sandy and stuff.
That's a different Sandman. That's the Sandman that you're talking about is from Spider-Man. That's the Golden Age Sandman from the DC universe.
I come in and Chris was in here talking to two guys about like shitty like comic book movies, and somehow I got reeled into the conversation. I keep in mind, never saw Chris before a day in my life, and we all kind of talked for a minute, and these guys left, and I sat and talked to Chris afterwards for maybe about 20-30 minutes. And I said, you know, I really like this guy. I'm like, I really like the store. I like everything about it. So I told him, I said, you know what? I'm going to come back on Friday, and I'm going to get a membership card, and I've been coming ever since. Man, I live in Southfield. So, yeah, I pass, I mean, 3-4 stores. I mean, really, even when I'm coming from work, I work in Royal Oak. I literally pass Warp 9 on the way over here. I'll make the drive over here just for Chris.
What is it about Comics and More, do you think, that sets it apart from some of the other comic book stores in the area?
Honestly, Chris, there's other stores that you go to where the owners aren't personable. You know, you'll go in the store and you're spending your money. This is a luxury, and it's an expensive luxury at that. It's not cheap. You know, and Fantastic Four 600 is $8.
You better look through that, because there's a lot of sex in the True Blood stuff generally.
Why did you want to work at the comic book store?
Why does a young boy like girls? It's natural. Any young teenage kid who likes comic books is going to want to work in a comic book store. Absolutely. I mean, well, why not? Why anything?
How does it feel owning a comic book store?
Stressful. Owning anything, I imagine, is stressful. I love how everyone tells me all the time I have a fun job. Okay. Sure. You know what? Hookers have a fun job too. They get to have sex all the time.
Can you describe to me the feeling you had when you first bought the store from Tom?
I didn't realize I was a hooker yet. I'm happier here than I would be anywhere else, but that's the thing. Owning a small business of any kind, and certainly in this economy, is not easy. Us small business owners are the backbone of an economy that's crippled. You know, it's difficult to be in that position. You know, you do the best you can. You keep a smile on your face and living the dream of owning that comic book store.